Good evening, Council. Thank you for your service. This is my first time getting to do this with you, and I'm excited to share just a little bit about this project and how we approached it. So normally, Francis Tuttle, the Workforce and Economic Development Department, focuses on training. But when the city came to us and said, we have a need for a third-party facilitator to help us gain insight from our development community, we're all about it. So the approach we took, we had 3 different sessions, and we planned these strategically with city leadership, with Scott and Randy. The first, well, before we dive into that, the end goal is that the development community says, I love working with the City of Edmond. It's so easy. And we know, and we acknowledge to the community who is giving feedback, that no goal that's worth its weight is instantaneous. So just because we got feedback didn't mean that we were necessarily going to be at this goal immediately. If I know that I want to eat more healthy food, I'm not going to see the results of that tomorrow. So we are starting the process, and the development community knew this is what we're aiming for. So the first iteration, the forum we asked, was quick insights from the community. And then we had a more intimate setting for the second one where they could tell their stories and be face-to-face. So in that first forum, we had 42 RSVPs, 30 were able to attend. They sat in a large square. The city sat outside of that square intentionally so that they could listen without reacting or getting involved and just be hearing. And Francis Tuttle, lower left, Molly Scalf, took copious notes, as close to dictation as we could get on what we heard from the community. So in that session, very quickly as an opener, they submitted words they thought of when they work with the City of Edmond, and the bigger the word, the more common it was. So you see we already have quick wins and things we're proud of, like friendly, and slow stood out as an opportunity, and that was just at the very beginning of the session. The 30 attendees then just jotted down first independently what they might want to share in the quick wins, things that are working and things that are not, and things they've seen in other places. And they spent time sharing those rapid fire in rounds so that each person in the community heard it, not just the city, but they heard each other. And that way, sometimes, you know, when you're giving feedback, you think your problem is a shared challenge, and they either were affirmed in that this is a common pain point, or that it was a really unique situation they might want to seek more face-to-face one-on-one time. And they started by sharing what's working, not just to make the room feel good, but also sometimes we change things unintentionally because we don't know that they're working, and we wanted to make sure the city knew what was going well so they could maintain that. In the second iteration, the second forum was about a month later, and we had 22 RSVPs, 19 attendees. They sat in small groups. A department leader from the city sat with a Francis Tuttle representative, and they rotated through each group. The development community who was there had copies of the notes that we took from round 1 so they could refer back to those and not start from scratch. They were able to say, let me tell you my story. Hey, I think you missed something. I'd really like to elaborate on this point, and dig into that round 1 feedback and enhance it. From that, the city just listened. Tell me more. What did we miss? And we took the notes from round 1 and round 2 and compiled about 13 pages of feedback. And we brought those to the city staff who sat in departments, and they first talked about mindset. It's difficult to receive feedback even when you've asked for it. It's just human nature to be a little bit justifying and a little bit defensive. So we talked about how do we receive that because we want to grow. And then they dug into it, they talked about it, and they created plans. And Randy's going to share with you what they heard, what they've already done, and what they're planning to do based on this feedback.